And welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. I'm your host. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for listening. This is our NFL Draft NFC review show. It's kind of our anniversary show as well. So we're going back to our original format on the year anniversary of the show now. We're recording a show from the mobile platform that Speaker Radio offers. So, let's get into it a little bit. You can follow the show. Check us out on Facebook, Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. You can follow us on Twitter, Real Deal KVP. Our Google Plus community is out there, so if you want to join that, go check that out. We'll be putting out all the sports stories there as well. Of course, we have the website, realdealsportstalkwithkp.com. If you'd like to email the show, that is rdst.wkp@gmail.com. So by all means, chime in. Let me know what you think about what I'm saying. Let me know what you think about, my assessment of the draft, my review of the draft. And it's fun to have the debate, keep it real, and just, talk sports. So let's get into it. We're going to go through each of the divisions, north, south, east, west, just like we did with the AFC. And we'll start off with the NFC North. Let's get right into it. We'll start with my Detroit Lions. That's my favorite team, as you guys well know. And again, like I said in the AFC side when we reviewed that, this was not really a sexy draft for anybody. You hear that term a lot right now, the sexiness of the draft, the sexiness of the pick. And I said this on the last show. This was very much a draft for almost every team that was set up to build depth. It was set up to build the foundation of what you guys are going to have on your squads this year. So where there are some good picks and some surprising picks and some silly picks, there's nothing really for most teams that is going to blow you out of the water, I feel. So we're going to start off with my Lions. Like I told you guys, I don't really like grading them. I'll throw a grade onto each team's draft just for, kicks. It's not really something I think you can do at this point. Lions in the first round, really hoping they were going to pick up Reuben Foster as he kept following. They chose to go with Jared Davis, the linebacker out of Florida. I like that pick. He's a solid guy. He's a solid player. Kind of sticks with what Bob Quinn has been doing there since he took over as general manager, and he's collecting football players. He's not necessarily collecting a lot of stars right now, but he's collecting football players. And that's something very similar to what New England has going on. They have a whole bunch of football players that they can use as interchangeable pieces and use to do various things week to week. So I'm looking forward to see what Bob Quinn can pull off this year based on what he did last year. We followed Jared Davis with the Tease Tabor pick, the cornerback out of Florida. I like that. He's going to bring some attitude to that defensive backfield. Not so sure about the wide receiver in the third round. Don't know a lot about the product out of Northern Illinois and Kenny Galladay. Mixed reviews there. Kind of sounds like he's athletically gifted. Same as the fourth round pick, Jalen Reeves may have been very athletically gifted, but often injured. I like the tight end they picked up in the fourth round, Michael Roberts. That might be my favorite pick for the Lions. Jamal Agnew, shorter corner, very fast, very competitive in the fifth round. 2 sixth-round picks, defensive end out of Arkansas, Ledbetter, very athletic guy. Probably going to see him in a lot of speed packages and rotational play. The quarterback out of Miami, as we all know now from Friday, his mom, Felicia, played the character Felicia, Brad Kaya. And then Pat O'Connor, the defensive end out of Eastern Michigan. Surprisingly, he reminds me a lot of a Jared Allen type of a guy. So if I had to give the Lions a grade on their draft, B-, C+, somewhere right in there. Nothing great, nothing too bad. I started to see a lot of stuff this week that they had one of the worst drafts in the NFL. I don't know about that. I think they did pretty good. But again, nothing great, nothing too bad. So give them a C+, B-, somewhere right in there. The Packers, surprisingly, in the division had one of the better drafts. I like the Kevin King pick for them. He's a 6'3" corner. They've had a lot of injuries, concussion issues at the corner position, drug charges for that matter. So bring in the young guy. He's taller than anybody on receiver. He's as tall or taller than every receiver in the division. Kevin White's close. Treadwell's close there in Minnesota. But good pickup for them. I like the Josh Jones, the safety pick. I like Montravius Adams, the defensive tackle out of Auburn, joining them. He's going to be able to fit right in. I really like the linebacker they picked up in the 4th round, Vince Beigel, out of Wisconsin. I think that's a great pick. Underrated running back. They pick up Jamal Williams out of BYU. Number of picks for them in this draft. I even like the pick in the 7th round, their final pick, the Malachi Dupree, because quite possibly he could step in on special teams for them early on, and that's a 7th round pick. So I would give them easily a solid B plus on their draft. They really fit need. They really fit depth on their team, and they got guys that fit what they do up there. Just with about every pick they didn't reach. Even the Aaron Jones running back out of UTEP, I like that one a lot. Most likely a special teams guy, maybe a practice squad guy, but good pickup. And they picked up 3 running backs in this draft. They picked up Williams from BYU and Jones from UTEP, and then in the 7th round they got Devontae Mays from Utah State. So solid draft for the Packers. Nothing special, again, not sexy, but solid. So give them a B. Moving into the Bears, I'm sorry, that 1st round move up, people say it's not too much to move up 1 pick. San Francisco was not going to take Trubisky. They had no means to take Trubisky. They didn't want Trubisky. So they took your picks. They took your 2 3rd rounds. They took your 5th round pick. They let you move up 1 spot. Look like a clown. Take Trubisky. You had your new quarterback you're giving $18 million to sitting there in the draft party. He didn't know you were taking a quarterback, so he's upset now. The Bears, year after year, seem to just make bad decisions now. Now, hey, they made up for it huge in the 2nd round, getting the tight end Adam Shaheen out of Ashland University. A lot of people are saying this is baby Grunk. He's big, he's fast, he's aggressive. I really like that pick. To me, it almost made up for what they did in the 1st round. They only had 3 more picks the rest of the draft, 2 4ths and a 5th, and they were out after that. Now, they did get a safety out of Alabama and Eddie Jackson that could turn into a nice player in the 4th round, most likely a special teams contributor and a backup type guy. And then they went running back out of North Carolina A&T, Tariq Cohen, and Jordan Morgan, tackle out of Kutztown. So not a solid draft for them. I would give them probably the lowest grade in the division, looking at maybe a C minus for the Bears. They didn't have a lot of picks. They screwed up trading up in the 1st round, and really what saved them was getting that tight end in Adam Shaheen. Vikings had a ton of picks in this draft. Delvin Cook falls to them in the 2nd round. That's the 1st pick they make. Big pick up there. They get the center out of Ohio State, Pat Elflein. He's going to probably step in and start either, I think, at guard, but, he could back up at center too if there's injuries there. Jaleel Johnson, defensive tackle out of Iowa. These guys are solid players. They never really become, your Pro Bowl, all-pro type guys, but defensive tackles out of Iowa are generally pretty solid players. They get Ben Gideon, the linebacker out of Michigan. He's going to fly around and be physical, not the fastest guy, but pretty instinctive. 2 5th-round picks, they go wide receiver, guard. In the 6th round, I think this is a guy who fell to them that they're going to be able to use quite a bit. Former quarterback, tight end out of Virginia Tech, Bucky Hodges. He's going to be a red zone target for them, for whoever's playing quarterback. He's a 6'7" guy. I like that pick. And then they ended up with 4 7th-round picks. Wide receiver, defensive end, linebacker, and corner. And really, the Elijah Lee linebacker out of Kansas State is my favorite pick out of those 4. They do pick up the Stacy Coley, the wide receiver out of Miami. Ifeadi Odingbo, the defensive end out of Northwestern. Sorry if I'm butchering these names, y'all. I'll keep it real. I'm trying. And then their final pick, Jack Tocho, the cornerback out of NC State. So, give them pretty much the same as the Lions, C+, B-, somewhere right in there, mostly because they did so good in rounds 2 through 4 in the picks they got, and then that late round pick that fell to them in Bucky Hodges. So there you go. Packers definitely did the best, in my opinion, in the division. followed by the Lions and Vikings, and then the Bears bringing up the rear in the NFC North. Moving down to the South, NFC South, we'll start off with the Panthers. Panthers kind of went speed in this draft. You could see what their focus was. First 2 picks in rounds 1 and 2, they get the playmakers and Christian McCaffrey, the running back out of Stanford, who, they're going to get creative with. He's going to return some kicks here and there. He's going to return some punts here and there. He's going to play some slot. He's going to play some running back. He's going to play some receiver. He's going to be a decoy. They might throw their second-round pick, Curtis Samuel, who runs a 4-3 in there with him at the same time and say cover somebody. The wide receiver out of Ohio State, speedster, playmaker. He's going to see some special teams action. I doubt you see him in the backfield the way you did at Ohio State, but you never know. With speed. It's a copycat league. You saw what they did with Tyreek Hill in Kansas City that was so successful. And they pick up, the Panthers do, those first 2 playmakers in rounds 1 and 2. Panthers had a second round 2 pick, got Taylor Moton, the tackle out of Western Michigan. Probably going to slide into guard for them, but we'll see what they have plans. They finish out with 4 picks in rounds 3, 5, 6, and 7, defensive end, corner, fullback, and a kicker. Nothing fancy. Guys that, if they make the squad, will be rotational players, backup guys, special teams. But really, those playmakers they got at the rounds 1 and 2 give them a nice solid B on the draft, I think, because that's really going to make a difference, especially if that highly touted quarterback they got down there and Cam Newton can learn how to throw a short pass accurately. I mean, then this team will take off offensively. But, that's not something he's proven he can do so far in his career. Moving on to the Saints, they get Marshawn Latimer in the first round. He kind of fell with everything that was going there. They also pick up Ryan Ramczyk at the end of the first round, giving them a really solid 2 picks in that first round. They get the safety Marcus Williams out of Utah, and this is a team that has really nobody on defense, so that's a nice solid pick. And then all the way down in the third round, Alvin Kamara falls to him at running back. And yeah, everybody's saying, okay, what about Ingram? They just signed Peterson. Kamara's another level. He's a different guy. He's younger. He's quicker. He's got a little bit more shake to him. To the other running backs that are on the roster outside of Peterson and Ingram, you're probably not making the squad. So get yourself some tape and make sure that your agent, has what he needs to do to try and get you on somebody else. They also had a second, third round pick, Alex Alonso, a linebacker out of Florida, Anzalone, excuse me. That should be a solid player for him. People comparing him to Clay Matthews. I don't see it. I'm sure he's got some long hair, but he's not quite that guy. Then they had a third, 3, and a 6. Trey Hendrickson, the defensive end out of Florida Atlantic, and then they get another defensive end out of Miami, Al-Qaeda Muhammad, in the 6th round. So solid draft for the Saints as well. I'd give them a B on their draft, maybe B+. Moving on to the Bucks, they got to be so happy right now having O.J. Howard fall to them. With Deshaun Jackson and Mike Evans and Doug Martin down there. Nice little squad they're putting together. They get Justin Evans, the safety out of Texas A&M, to kind of roam in the background in the defensive backfield. Round 3, they get wide receiver out of Penn State, who I know Detroit was interested in, and I kind of thought fit our scheme pretty well. Chris Goodwin, the wide receiver in round 3. Then they pick up Kendall Beckworth, the linebacker out of LSU. Going to really round out their linebacking core and offer them some depth there. Another Boise State running back product for him to join Doug Martin. In round 5, they pick up Jeremy McNichols, that running back from Boise State. Round 7, they pick up Stevie Tuikolovotu, the defensive tackle from USC. Pretty solid draft for the Bucks too. They didn't reach for everybody. They had good players fall to them at positions of need and depth. I'd give the Bucks a B in their draft. The NFC South as a whole really didn't do all that bad. Falcons rounding out that division. Probably the best draft moment of the year was Takk McKinley, the defensive end from UCLA, dropping his F-bomb